Did you know that in Australia, the number of beef cattle, over 25.3 million, is almost equal to the country's population of 26.8 million? Beef exports valued at over $7.5 billion annually, Australia ranks among the world's top beef-producing nations. What sets Australia apart is how this cattle is raised on vast grasslands, spanning 494 million acres, larger than Texas and California combined. So, how did Australia's livestock industry become so exceptional? Let's dive in. First, let's look at Australia's main cattle raising regions. Northern Australia, including Queensland and the Northern Territory, accounts for 75% of the country's cattle raising area. This region is known for live cattle exports mainly to Indonesia and also supplies beef to global burger markets. Queensland alone manages 11 million cattle, nearly half the country's total herd. Down south, New South Wales has smaller, specialized farms focusing on premium beef breeds like Wagyu, known for superior marbling. Standout is Anna Creek Station in South Australia, the world's largest cattle ranch. Spanning 5.85 million acres, about Israel's size, it houses over 20,300 beef cattle. Daily, Aussie farmers face the huge task of managing vast herds across enormous landscapes. In Queensland and the Northern Territory, helicopters help monitor and herd cattle across massive ranches. Each flight, lasting 2-4 hours, can check and direct over 2,000 cattle, cutting time and labor compared to traditional horse or off-road vehicle methods. Besides choppers, Australian cattle dogs are invaluable allies in managing cattle. These quick, responsive dogs can do the work of several hands, especially during large-scale roundups. Daily, ranchers check cattle health by observing behavior, weight, and physical condition. Cattle showing signs of illness like weight loss or lethargy are quickly isolated and treated to prevent disease spread. Farmers also supplement the herd's diet with hay and grain in dry seasons to maintain health and steady growth. In New South Wales and the Northern Territory, automated water stations now meet cattle's drinking needs. These stations can serve over 500 head of cattle daily and are linked to remote monitoring systems to ensure constant supply and proper function, allowing farmers to focus on other management tasks. Yearly, large-scale roundups are held to count, sort, and move cattle to new grazing areas. These operations, often lasting days, involve helicopters, sheepdogs, and ATVs working together. Healthy cattle move to lush pastures, while those needing special care stay near the main facilities. Stations. Cattle breeds are chosen based on regional climate. Brahman cattle, heat tolerant and parasite resistant, make up 70% of herds in the North and Queensland. Hereford and Angus dominate in NSW and the South, prized for high-quality marbled beef. Angus can weigh up to 1,500 pounds, yielding premium meat for gourmet dishes. .2 million acres of Australian grassland are managed to sustainably feed cattle. Farmers use rotational grazing, spreading 2,200 pounds of manure per acre for soil health. Farm can store enough grass to feed 10,000 cattle for 4 months without using industrial feed. Australian cattle dogs are crucial for herding, especially when managing stubborn or injured cattle. Each dog can guide 200, 300 cattle, cutting herding time by half and reducing animal stress. All Australian cattle have RFID tags to track weight, vaccinations, and overall health. RFID scanning processes 1,000 cattle per hour, lowering death rates to under 2% versus 5 to 10% globally. Farmers manage breeding cycles for over 12 million cows annually. They achieve 90% success through monitoring and assisted delivery for difficult births. Newborn calves get special care in the first 24 hours, with diets high in energy and nutrients. On average, a cow in Australia eats 35 to 50 pounds of grass daily, totaling 13,000 to 18,000 pounds yearly. In dry seasons, farmers add 1,100 pounds of hay per cow, plus grains and mixed feed for complete nutrition. From careful cow care in vast pastures, their journey moves to the final stage, transport and slaughter. Transport, farmers move cattle to large areas called feedlots. Each feedlot holds 500 to 1,000 cattle, with plenty of space to reduce animal stress. During this time, cattle get clean water and feed to stay healthy before transport. The cattle are then moved in large trucks or special trains. These trucks are specially designed with ventilation and shock-absorbing padding to keep cattle comfortable throughout their journey. A standard truck in Australia can transport 80 to 100 cattle per trip, covering an average distance of 300 to 500 miles. In remote areas like the Northern Territory, road trains are the main transport, carrying up to 1,200 cattle in one trip. At the processing plant, cattle are first guided into pens with curved paths to reduce stress and prevent panic. Systems ensure painless cattle processing, adhering to OIE's humane standards. Workers then use modern tools to quickly skin, gut, and clean carcasses under high-pressure warm water, Australian slaughterhouses like those in Queensland can process over 1,500 cattle daily with just 2% waste. The process ensures hygiene and uses automated sorting systems to classify beef into quality grades, from premium export cuts to domestic products. Beef is quickly chilled to 32 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, preventing bacteria growth and maintaining freshness for processing. Most of Australia's beef production, over 60% of the total, is exported to major markets like the US, Japan, South Korea, and the Middle East. Japan leads, importing up to 39% of Australia's beef exports, followed by the US at 23% and South Korea at 14%. Notably, Australian beef makes up 50% of Japan's total beef imports, far outpacing US imports due to its higher quality and reliable supply chain. The Middle East market has grown significantly, with Australian halal beef meeting the needs of over 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide. The beef industry is crucial to Australia's economy, contributing over $15 billion annually, including processed meat and live cattle exports. Fact: Australian beef exports equals 75 million iPhones sold yearly, showing the industry's economic might. Beyond money, the beef industry creates over 200,000 jobs in farms, processing plants, and logistics. Efficiency and sustainability make Australia a top 3 global beef exporter with the US and Brazil. Australia, beef isn't just an industry, it's a cultural icon tied to life in the outback. Branches to tales of jackaroos, it paints a vivid picture of Australia's cattle culture. A typical cattle farm manages 20,000-30,000 head, with farmers working 10-12-hour days regardless of harsh weather. Farmers often face challenges like long droughts, dust storms, and summer temperatures reaching 45 degrees Celsius, 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Through innovation, farmers reuse groundwater and use drones to monitor cattle, saving labor and vital resources. These efforts have shaped a uniquely Australian resilient cattle farming culture. Horse breeding isn't just a cultural symbol, but a major economic contributor worldwide. The sight of powerful horse herds on vast pastures has left an indelible mark on human history. Remarkably, this traditional industry still generates billions in yearly revenue, reshaping nations' economies and cultures. The US boasts about 7.2 million horses and 442,000 horse farms, driving a thriving sector that significantly boosts the national GDP. China leads globally with over 11 million horses, with more than 20% bred for meat production. These stats show the industry's scale and highlight horse breeding's importance in our globalized world. Worldwide, horse numbers top 60 million, with the industry's annual revenue exceeding $300 billion. Top countries include the US, China, Brazil with 5.7 million horses, and Australia with over 400,000. Each nation uses horses uniquely, from business to tourism, creating a global value chain rich with potential. The Zhejiang Shenyuan horse industry adds $74 billion to the economy and creates about 1.3 million jobs. Direct contributions include economic activities within the horse industry like care and entertainment. These direct activities also boost related industries such as transport, feed production, and vet services. In fact, horses aren't just animals, but vital to many nations' economic and social ecosystems. The total economic impact of the horse industry in ITPI is $177 billion and 2.2 million jobs. Horse racing industry is a prime example. Often called the sport of kings, horse racing thrills and captivates millions worldwide. Iconic races like the Kentucky Derby aren't just cultural symbols, but generate over $15 billion in annual revenue. A racehorse costs about $300,000 on average, while prize horses can be valued at millions. Training racehorses requires meticulous investment in breed selection, diet, and specialized exercise regimens. Trainers approach horses gradually, starting with basics, focusing on desensitization and building trust. They also incorporate alternating training to boost endurance and slowly introduce speed exercises. The equestrian tourism industry is booming, especially in the western United States. With over 2 million annual visitors, horseback riding revenues reach about $300 million. In safari parks across Australia and Europe, horseback tours generate over $1 billion yearly, enhancing travel and connecting people with nature. The Royal Andalusian School of Equestrian Art is one of the world's most renowned traditional riding schools. With 117 Andalusian horses, staff, and students, the school preserves Spain's traditional equestrian style. The school's highlight is its impressive professional performances, which attract numerous tourists. Globally, farmers don't focus on raising horses for meat production like they do with broiler chickens. This is because horses take much longer to reach their ideal weight. Breeding horses for efficient feed conversion and economic growth involves many risks. Nevertheless, horse breeding continues to be maintained and developed. About 2.5 million acres are used for horse grazing. Every year in late April, farmers move 1,500 horses to better pastures. An adult horse needs daily food equal to 2% of its body weight. Besides grass, they eat a mix of corn and soybeans. At night, farmers lead horses to fenced areas for rest and protection. Horses breed in spring from February to May, when it's warm and food's plenty. This helps embryo and foal growth in the mare's womb. A newborn foal weighs about 50 pounds and can stand right after birth. This instinct shows their heritage as prairie roaming animals. During each farming cycle, farmers need to brand their horses. This helps them manage their herd and register with local breeding authorities. Horse breeding for meat has unique cultural and economic characteristics. Horse meat accounts for 0.4% of Spain's total livestock production. 15.3% of registered farms are for meat, mostly in northwest Spain. In the last decade, horse meat production rose 51%, mainly for European markets. Meat horses go to slaughter directly or spend time in feedlots first. According to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, global horse meat production reaches about 330 million pounds. Argentina leads the pack, supplying roughly 70% of the world's horse meat. China breeds over 1.6 million horses yearly for meat, raking in about $2 billion in revenue. Horse meat, protein-rich and leaner than beef, is gaining popularity in Japan, France, and Italy. France consumes over 9 million pounds of horse meat annually, with dishes like steak and sausage becoming local staples. Beyond meat, horse products like milk and leather also hold significant economic value. Kazakhstan produces 110 million pounds of mare's milk annually, used in premium foods and cosmetics. Horse leather makes high-end bags, shoes, and furniture, especially in Europe, generating hundreds of millions in yearly revenue. More than just an industry, equestrianism plays a vital role in preserving and promoting cultural heritage. In Mongolia, the US, and Australia, horses symbolize national history and identity. Horse festivals aren't just entertainment, they bridge past and present, recalling when horses were essential to human life. In the US, over 1.4 million people work in horse-related fields, from breeding and transport to entertainment. This deep bond highlights horses' economic value and their cultural and social significance.